What's going on, everybody? Welcome to RBL Weekly. I am the Roast Battle League Commissioner, Pat Barker. We are in a new studio. I'm joined by the founder of Roast Battle, Brian Moses.
New studio!
New studio for hopefully the end of time. Maybe not next week, but then hopefully this is a permanent space. We're at Def Noodle's studio here in West Hollywood, California. I'm going to address something I'm very insecure about off rip. I was unaware that they would be filming my legs, so I showed up in basketball shorts. I look ridiculous. It's unbecoming of a commissioner. There.
You look very insecure.
We said I am so uncomfortable right now. 100%.
What you're doing right now.
Yeah, no. This is I got used to filming it the last few weeks, like just in my room.
No, you told me, you're like, listen, I don't know how to do this podcast with another person anymore. I kind of like this doomsday thing I'm doing.
It was not bad. It was not bad, but I'm glad to have you here. The shorts are just gonna fuck me up the entire time.
I know, yeah. I'm at your own personal podcast.
I know.
You just got out of the shower or a pickleball tournament. I don't know what's happening.
I'm asking the producers. I'm like, can we change the cameras so my legs are not on screen?
Like, no, we installed these already. Yeah. Hard mount.
Yeah. So
hard mount. You can't change them.
Anyway, how are you?
Do you want to get naked, like the naked roast?
I'm going to pass on that.
Okay. It might make us feel more comfortable.
We have a great week of battles. What am I? This is me. We have a great week of. I'm also used to just like one. I'm staring directly into my computer like a psycho, and now it's like it's professional here, and I got to get used to it. But we do have a great week of battles. It's week 33 of the season, 34 weeks. This is an exciting time. We have one. London has already locked up a playoff spot. The other three are up for grabs. There's a lot on the line this week and next week. And behind the scenes, I don't know if we're talking about this yet, but we locked down the venue, the date for the championship. It's all coming together.
When
this season started, did you expect us to be here at this point?
No, you've done a hell of a job, sir.
Thank you.
I got to be honest. You in these shorts... For 32 solid weeks, you've put together a professional sports league with nothing but comedians. And if anybody's tried to produce or be a comedian themselves, they know it's like herding cats. It's a really hard thing to even say in a sentence. So, great work, man. Congratulations.
I appreciate that, man. Congrats to you, the Roast Battle League. It's coming together. We're going to crown a world champion after almost 1,200 battles across the world with over 1,000 battlers. 4 of them will be converging on this mystery location on a mystery date. It will be revealed shortly. Make sure you're following at RBL Commish, at Roast Battle for all the latest announcements.
Battlemania.
Battlemania. It's happening. We will crown a world champion, and this week we are going to look into figuring out maybe who the remaining 3 cities are. I don't know if this thing's going to come down to the last week. I do. You don't. You're going to find out in a bit. Let's get right into it. And let's start with the city that has clinched a playoff spot already. London, they still had something to play for this week. All they needed was 1 point this week to clinch the top overall seed in the international division, which will give their battler the opportunity to choose whether they want to go first or second at the championship, which is a big advantage. They needed 1 point this week, and they get it with the number 5 battle this week. This is 2 newer battlers. One we've seen once before. The other one is brand new to the podcast. And this was a little bit of a controversial pick. The ranking committee was kind of all over the place this week. This was number 1 on one person's ballot. It was off of another ballot entirely. The end result is the number 5 battle this week. This is from London. This is Ridwan El Hasnawi versus Bert Broadbent. Here it is.
So this is Bert, and you've probably seen him before sticking his head under the toilet cubicles. Bert is what you get when the Gallagher brothers spit roast Harry Potter. His dad is also a black cab driver. Well, he used to be until John Warboys was jailed for his attack on 12 women. Okay, too dark for you guys.
Have you ever got a Deliveroo, right? And you're missing a couple of signs. Look, Ridwan is not a one-dimensional guy, right? There's layers to him. But which I mean, he definitely wears a t-shirt in a swimming pool on holiday.
Yes! Thank you, Cockney Jeffrey Dahmer. Bert looks like the early part of the evolution chain to Russell Brand. He's told me he's a West Ham fan, but he also looks like a retro paedophile. So he's forever blowing bubbles to lead the kids into the van.
Very good. Ridwan recently set up an account on WeBuyAnyDJKhaled.com. DJ Khaled, obviously known for his features with Drake, Lil Wayne, Rihanna. Ridwan, known for his main feature is that his body is too small for his fucks it up, ignore it. Your turn. Cheers. Should have fucking left it, shouldn't I?
In the words of DJ Khaled, you just played yourself. But yeah, thank you, Ghost of John Lennon. Now, despite looking like a man who shouts, "You want some?" to pigeons, Bert does actually have some etiquette. He told me he only eats pizza with knife and fork, as he doesn't like to get his hands greasy. Which is weird, because it seems like his hair care routine consists of bukkake.
All right. So Ridwan has Moroccan heritage, I have Cockney heritage, and there's an unlikely connection there in our ancestral appreciation for outdoor markets. Right? So, you know, some of my ancestors would have sounded like this. £2 your banana, £3 your pear. Some of Ridwan's ancestors would have sounded like this. Sexy lady, you want a handbag?
That's why we make more sales. Thank you, Billy Hargrove from Stranger Things. Bert's nickname in the school playground was Super Hands. Not from his resemblance, but because he dresses up in lycra, and he was very handsy with his children at school gates, only last week. He's also Cockney, so he uses phrases like dog and bone, but because he's dyslexic, he boned his dog. Who let the dogs out?
Ridwan's always been a big boy. He actually ate his twin in his mother's womb, which is how he got his name, because his mum was having twins, but she got rid of one.
Now I know he might look like he shouts "fuck off back to your country" to immigrants in South Carolina. But Bert has actually studied at university. He told me he got a 2-2 in English and history, which ironically tells me he would also fail the Life in UK test.
Okay. How are we doing, by the way? I mean, all right, thank goodness, because I ain't got many left. All right. Being of Moroccan heritage, Ridwan obviously fancies camels, right? His wife said to him, maybe we should try some role play. He said, hoist up your camel toe and spit in my face. And she said, Ridwan, I don't think you understand. Role play's about doing something different, man.
He sold out my OnlyFans account. That's it, thank you guys.
So there it is, the number 5 battle of the week. Ridwan El Hasnaoui versus Bert Broadbent. 1 point for London. They solidify the top overall seed.
Clinch, yeah.
It was all over the place with the the battle itself I felt like was all over the place. There was a lot going on there. Yeah. But even amongst like the ranking, like somebody had it first on their ballot. It wasn't on another one entirely. Usually we're kind of on the same page. This was a week where everything was kind of all over the place. What'd you think?
I mean, it was fun. I mean, for the first battle of my first week back, good to be back. It was fun. It was fun to have two very distinct looking battlers. I mean, it felt like the ugly version of like One Direction, right? It was like Dallas Buyers Club, Harry Styles versus Lizzo as Zayn Malik, right? Very thick.
Yeah, I get that.
The Beatles versus a man who's shaped like a beetle. It felt like Palestine versus the people that sold the Jews their land.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's
that's,
as soon as you say Palestine, I cut to the hard cam and I'm like, moving on.
Yeah, no, that's what it looked like.
But no, overall, I thought it was like
a conflict.
It was very much indicative of like how London got here.
Okay.
Right. London has been one of the cities that from day one has been consistent. They always send in battles. I don't think they have many number 1 overall battles, but slow, steady, consistent, putting up points every single week. They very rarely send anything bad. It's always just like we're putting up 2 points here, we're putting up 3 points there, and now we sit back 33 weeks into the season and we look, and they have the number 1 overall seed internationally.
Very West Coast offense, dink and dunk.
Yeah.
Jab, defend, kind of like Floyd Mayweather.
Keep the chains moving.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
References that nobody in London is going to get.
Right. I mean, the boxing thing, hopefully. Yeah. Jab, stick, move, jab. Defend. Yeah.
That's universal. Yeah.
Drink, punch your wife. That kind of a thing.
That is now we're speaking their language.
Thank you.
100%.
Right. So let me just ask you before we get to the next thing. Yeah. Is London? I mean, they've clinched first.
Yes.
They don't have the most points in the league, but they have the most points in their division.
They have the most points internationally.
Right.
So what's going to happen is when we have the championship, there will be 2 semifinals, the international division and the American one. Assuming London finishes behind whoever wins the American division, still to be seen, they will have home field advantage essentially in the opening battle, but they will not in the finals.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are they your favorites, or are they your dark horse?
So the interesting thing about this season is each city is going to send 1 representative. It's going to be their MVP. We haven't voted on MVP yet, so I don't really want to speculate on who it might be.
Right.
But I have a personal pick. If it is the person that I'm thinking who has had an unbelievable season, I think London has an excellent shot.
Okay.
Yeah. I think their top tier, their top few people, and specifically the person I'm thinking of, can beat anybody in the world. Yeah.
I mean, they have 2 people that are like ranked in the top 3 right now, right?
In terms of overall wins, London churns out. They do not rest. They have battlers who have taken 15, 16, 17 battles since the start of March.
Okay.
So we're talking about every 2 weeks. So they're putting up a lot in terms of statistical output, in terms of wins, in terms of RBL points and everything like that. But it's really just about, it's a trained eye from 10 years of watching battles. You watch and you're like, can this person beat the best in the world? And I think with London, I believe that they can.
All right, they translate universally.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of something that might need a translator, we're going to move on right now to our number 4 battle. This was every bit as controversial as London, maybe even more so. This is another one that was number 1 on one list. It was not ranked on another one. And when you see it, you're going to understand why. Chicago came into this week 4 points, behind New York.
Okay.
They're the number 4 battle this week. They're going to pick up 2 points.
Okay.
Which means if we don't see New York this episode, that's steady progress for Chicago. But if New York posts a top 2 battle this week, it could be over for Chicago.
Okay.
They needed a home run here. They hit a double. It's the number 4 battle this week. Whether or not it'll be good enough to get them to the playoffs, we'll find out as this episode and potentially next week progress. But you're going to see why it was polarizing right here. It's the number 4 battle this week from Chicago. Gabriel Alviso versus Ruslan Hafiz. Here it is.
Ruslan looks like he's been eating solid food since he was 3 weeks old.
Upon obtaining driver license, Gabe was asked if he wanted to be a hair donor.
Sorry, we forgot to bring the translator.
I can translate for you, no problem.
No, you're the issue.
We both are issues.
Yeah, yours is with food. Ruslan, this is true. Ruslan is a flat earther. He doesn't believe in conspiracies. Just every time he steps outside, he flattens the earth.
Yeah, nobody knows, but Gabe is very smart guy. Nobody knows. So, it's just a setup, like, relax. So he's a barista trying to get the copyrights for the drink he thinks invented. Are you ready? Gabuccina.
Yeah, he's upset about food. Shocker. All right.
You think I'm upset because I'm fat? No, you are upset because I close your sunset. Don't play with me this 7 jokes roulette. Your time is out. Go to bed.
Hey, give it up for the fattest Joe ever, dude. You're like if Slim Shady wasn't Slim. That is crazy. You know, the producers of the show told me that they got Ruslan from the Ukraine. Yes. I'm sorry, no. They said that they brought Ruslan here using a crane.
You see, guys, the problem. He has problems with the geography. I even wear the Kyrgyz national hat. I'm from Kyrgyzstan.
I'm from America. I don't remember shit.
Now you know. Now you know. Gabe, a very stylish guy. He even got a tattoo on his lower back. It literally says lower back.
I have tattoos. I do have tattoos. They should have called this battle tits for tat. So.
And dick if you want.
And dick? What?
Yeah.
You give it to me 50 years.
I can find a deal for you, you know? Not me, not me.
No, Ruslan's favorite movie is also his favorite food to eat. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Gabriel looks like a homeless mermaid. So he doesn't like the new mermaid movie, not because she's black, but he wanted to be a part of it, you know? Ariel Gabriel.
That's crazy coming from someone that's as big as the ocean. That is crazy. Real quick, can we get a bartender? I ordered a white Russian, but I just got a fat Ukrainian.
Gabriel's mom is so fat. So fat. So he was born partially in Mexico and California at the same time.
I am from Mexico. He's actually not this fat. Just my cousins are hiding in him. This is crazy. Ruslan is actually he has a movie credit. Remember the fat kid from the movie Up? Ruslan played the house.
Yeah, I take roles in movies, and you are not.
He takes a lot of roles. Yeah.
Of course I do. Of course I do. I'm a guy who, like everybody see, you know. So.
Hey guys, he's a guy that everybody sees.
Of course. So that's why I get roles. So here's my joke. What a hairy coochie! Doctor exclaimed when the Gabe's hat showed up out of a vagina.
Last joke, I think.
Dude, I wish I had an accent that no one could understand. That is crazy. That's not the first time he's crushed. He crushes every woman he tries to have sex with.
This joke is international now.
But bitch. Let's wrap this up. Russell has to go back to his job at Planet Fitness where he works as the planet.
And fitness. Don't forget. Yeah. Everybody watched the Game of Thrones, right? So Gabe looks like Jon Snow. And not only looks, but he defends Mexican wall. He hang out with White Walkers. And he fucked his sister.
Battle! Ruslan Hoffitz and Gabriel Avizo. Oh my God.
So number 4 this week, as I said, very polarizing. I'm not going to reveal whether who liked it, who didn't like it. It had a little bit of everything. It in terms of crowd reaction, dude, I think it is going to be the most we're going to see on this episode. So I'm just going to ask you, because you're not part of this ranking thing, how much do you determine whether a battle is good or not based on whether or not the crowd enjoyed it? Is that the primary determining factor for you, or are you really looking for the jokes? What's your criteria?
I mean, I'll say because I'm not in the committee. I don't vote on any of these battles. I'm just a fan like anybody else watching these. That one grew on me because it wasn't so much the jokes were epic, right? I've never heard that before. It's like a dunk contest, right? I've never seen that dunk before. These are dunks you've seen. These are jokes I've heard, but with different people, different angles, kind of a thing. And honestly, that felt like an ESL battle. It was we were just happy that Russell got the jokes out, completed, and enunciated, and we understood them. So it was he landed them.
Yeah.
But then it's you're grading him on a different scale.
Yeah.
But he also had a different style I don't think I've ever seen before, which is he steps on jokes in a very polite way. So it's almost like he's not being disrespectful, but it is super disrespectful. It's Gabe would nail something, and then Ruslan will be like, yes, but don't forget this. And you're just oh, you're right. And it's funny. So then your opponent's oh, that's funny. But it's also oh, you just took my whole moment away.
It's almost a little bit digitsy.
Yes.
In the way that it's he just says the first thing that pops into his head. Mm-hmm. And at one point he just started rapping for no reason.
Right.
At another point he was yes, I am guy that everybody sees, so I do roles. And it was really effective. Yeah,
characters are always funny in roast battle because sometimes, they're always loved or hated, so you don't really know where they're going to fit on that spectrum. But with this guy, it was he was so lovable. He's an immigrant that the U.S. likes versus an immigrant the U.S. doesn't like, right?
Right.
So it's you just have this. There's just so many factors that were going on. I heard a lot of jokes I've heard before. But I got to see some crowd reactions I'd never seen before with guys who were just getting jokes out, and people were just happy that they were getting the jokes out. So I feel that's a battle that's graded on a curve.
I believe also the only Kyrgyzstani battler in the league.
Yes, absolutely.
We are even more worldwide than we thought.
Shout out Istanbul coming up soon.
Yeah, right. Maybe we'll see. That was the criticism from the people who weren't as big of fans of this battle is that they hate when. Because we've seen this in the belly room. We have a few broken English kind of battlers in the belly room, and everything is elevated. Jokes get way more than they should just based on the accent and everything like that.
Right.
And the criticism was, I hate when that is the primary reason for the laughter. I will say, I thought the jokes were good.
Right.
I actually enjoyed the jokes. I think if you get past the accent, sure, they got more than they maybe would have if he sounded like you or I, but I don't think the jokes were bad from either of them. I thought it was solid material, but it was definitely elevated by the accent. So
okay, Pat, really?
What?
You've seen Game of Thrones. This guy is...
I didn't say they were all good. I thought that there were,
but that was like the biggest. That was like his closer, but it was a great closer to end on. I'm just saying, it was like, come on,
right?
We're all getting out of our chair for that.
But there were some good ones throughout the battle, and don't ask me to quote them because my eyes are glazing over. I just watch battles all day, every day for this podcast.
It just felt very, in Russia, car fucks you kind of a thing.
It was, yeah. What was that guy's name?
Oh, that was
Yakov Smirnov.
Yeah,
it was very Yakov Smirnov, the Kyrgyzstani version. Don't ask me what the difference is. I don't know. So overall, where do you land? You think 4 was probably fair without seeing the others?
You know what? I haven't seen the others yet. I think right now, just because that first one, it was kind of like that one. It grows on you, right?
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, these guys are they're so distinct looking. Just off pure eye candy, I'm gonna watch. And then like after that, it's their personalities and like the character of it all. You're just like, where is this going? And I have to see where the arc goes.
For sure. Shout out to Gabe Alviso, by the way, his 4th RBL rank battle of the season.
Nice.
I think only 8 people in the entire league have put up that many. So
really?
Yeah. So,
Gabe's good though. Gabe's really, really good.
He is, and this was one of his best battles in terms of writing. Oh, Homeless Mermaid. Let's not act like that wasn't.
You're
fire.
right. Homeless Mermaid
was great
because he wanted to be in it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Russ.
Outstanding. I really enjoyed it. Chicago picks up 2 points, keeping their season alive for right now. We will find out what happens as we go forward.
Just shout out Chicago. I mean, like expanding from the Lincoln Lodge, which is a historic venue in Chicago for comedy, to now another one, Zanies. I mean, like outgrowing your own venue. That's huge. Denver also has done it with the Wide Right, and now they're at the Denver Improv. So,
the Bay Area has made tremendous strides. They're in Cobb's, they're in Sacramento Punchline.
Like, I mean, my goodness,
a lot of growth from a lot of different cities. Chicago has had an outstanding season. Will it be enough? We will find out. Let's keep it moving right now and go to the number 3 battle. And this is the only one that comes to us this week from a city playing spoiler. No playoff implications. The city has been eliminated for a few weeks, but they're playing till the final whistle, man. And I really respect that. I'm talking about Toronto. Now, we talked last week about how Toronto recently switched from Saturday at 7 o'clock to Friday at 10 o'clock. And
changed everything.
The difference is palpable. It really is. This is one of my favorite battles of the week. It's number 3, and it might be my favorite Toronto battle of the season. It's definitely up there. It is between Mark Karakianitis and Jordan Trafford. It's number 3 this week. Here it is.
I'm also excited for this battle. It's going to be kind of like a burlesque show because we got 2 pasties and 1 set of tits.
My clothes are staying on. Jordan, you look like you let loose by having 2 Capri Suns in one day.
You have more than that. In the gay community, Mark's known as a bear. Not because he's like big and hairy, because when he's around, you gotta tie your food and put it in a tree.
You have to. I will get it. I will get you food. Jordan looks like someone asked AI to paint a magician who rollerblades.
You look like that school shooter that stopped in the cafeteria.
At least I'm not wearing a tablecloth.
My family tart, you piece of shit.
Mark, and you know about pieces of shit.
Mark told me that when he was a kid, he quit karate. Just what we needed to hear. Another fat guy giving away a green belt.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
That belt might actually fit me. There's just something about Jordan. You can just sense he's passionate about tricycles. Anyone else picking up that vibe, or is it just me? Maybe I read it wrong. I don't know. He looks like a tricycle man.
Mark has a gym membership he doesn't use, and an expired father. Fun fact, the last time Mark did a deadlift, he was a pallbearer.
We burned him, actually. Speaking of fathers, though, Jordan and his father share a career. They're mechanical insulators. They both literally protect pipe for a living. You literally couldn't be gayer.
Jesus Christ, you look like you clog drains for a living. Mark does yoga. Maybe a surprise. You also may recognize him from his studio. He's known as Stretch Mark.
When I beat? Okay, I feel we'll see how this...
that guy back to judge.
The only time Jordan's ever made a pussy wet was the time he drowned a bag of kittens.
Oh, shit. How'd you know I live close to the Humane Society? Mark Karakianitis is not just fat. He's also lazy. He's so lazy, his last name has the itis.
Is that 5?
That was 5? Well, I'm brown. I say it's 5.
All right.
They call me the ball breaker. You should kick me out the house.
All right, I guess we're doing one more.
One more.
I'd be sick if I had written one more. Jordan, why are your shoes 10 years old, dude? You spent all your budget on the shirt. You saved none for the shoes. I was on the spot. I tried. I know. Fuck me. I'll go.
Mark's dad died right in front of him on an operating table, which is oddly convenient because usually Mark has to walk all the way to the fridge to see an expired vegetable.
All right, so that was the number 3 battle this week. Toronto, Mark Karakianitis versus Jordan Trafford. I can already picture, if you're a Chicago fan, you're watching this episode and being like, man, we deserve better than that. Like the reactions in the battles sort of back to back. I understand people who would have the Toronto over the Chicago. At this point in the season, every point means everything, and that's a tough one. But I really liked the joke writing in this battle. I thought that they both wrote some really excellent jokes and things that you're like, how have I not heard that before? You know what I mean?
I think that was my thing too. I was like, okay, yeah, I would give that one over the Chicago one because the jokes are so original. Yeah, I would say like Jordan Trafford I think out of the 2 battles we saw before, his joke writing was better than out of all 4 of those guys. Yeah, that dude he's a monster. He came down and battled at Jam in the Van, battled Sarah Keller at Jam in the Van back in like February. Yeah, he's really really funny, and he was on point in that one. And Mark was good too. Not having a joke for the overtime is tough. It's tough. Yeah. Mark likes leftovers prepared for him. Right. So, but Jordan, I mean, man, that was. I haven't seen Toronto all season, so that guy's got to battle more. He's really, really good. He reminds me of Pete Lee, and Pete Lee's a battler and also a very funny comedian. He's got a couple half hours on Comedy Central. Right. But he's got that kind of style, a very unassuming, likable, backhanded compliment kind of guy. Did that guy just like stab me in the heart? Oh my God. Yeah. You know, just very unassuming. Yeah. But also, like, what is up with these battles? Like, everybody's like really fat or really skinny. Everybody's very distinct. I mean, I think that's what makes the sport great. Yeah. There's no other sport where half of the athletes are morbidly obese. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying, like, this is like, okay, one guy's really skinny, one guy's really fat, one guy's, you know. I had not even picked up on that. Yeah. That's just these 3 so far. So. And all men. That's gonna change. It better. Yeah, it for sure. Better, Pat. Well, we're getting to the better battles. That's when. So what's up with the? I got to be honest. We were talking about this during the off screen a little bit. Right. But the note card compared to the notes on the phone. Let's talk about it. This has become a source of conversation in the comments section. Feel free to weigh in again if you haven't already. The consensus seems to be from the fans, at least the more vocal ones, they don't like the phones. They don't like the notes. They don't like any of it. And
to me, there's varying degrees, right? There's people who read directly off the phones. There's people who have the phones off to the side and kind of glance at them. Some people have the note cards. We've seen more and more battlers writing their jokes on their hands. We just had one at Jam in the Van where Digits, who notoriously writes his jokes on there, he got called out on that on stage. Why do you keep looking at your jokes on your hands? What is your take? Does it matter to you? Is one better than the other? Like, what do you think? Weigh in on that.
It's performance, right? So it's subjective. It all depends on, it seems like a lot of roast battle fans subjectively seem to not like that aesthetic of people not prepared for it, right? They want that magician thing of, I want to just think that you're just thinking off the top of your head. You're just a brilliant person, right? That's not always going to be the case. I mean, like, you know, some of the best roasters and roast writers in the world have gone up there with notes, right? Greg Giraldo goes up there with notes, you know. Tony Hinchcliffe had a wristband like he was Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, you know what I mean, reading off of his. So it really is just a matter of aesthetics. I thought that was very funny when Tony was doing that. He made it a part of his act.
Right.
Richard Lewis makes it part of his act when he reads notes. You know, Gerard Carmichael.
Jimmy Carr
does the same thing
with the clipboard.
With the clipboard. So I mean, if you can make it part of your act, it's fine. But if you're just reading it because you think it's so nonchalant, the phone is a little bit of it is a little jarring to see on camera. Mm-hmm. I think in person it's not, but like on camera you're like, oh. That's weird. But if, like the notes, like when Jordan had the notes, I thought that was actually, it made it feel professional.
You like the notes?
Yeah, it made it feel like he was like really roasting him, not just like, it was like he was like, we're going to freestyle, but I'm going to read off my phone. You know, like Drake did in like, what was it, the Hot 97 freestyle he's supposed to do, but he's reading off his BlackBerry, you know what I mean?
Right. So. You know, I think it's so, the expansion of the league, I think to a lot of people, they're still stuck in the room. And if your city has an understanding that everybody's using phones, everybody's using notes, you probably don't even think about it.
Right.
But then you get put on this podcast next to other cities that are not using notes, and it kind of does stand out a little bit.
You look weak. Yeah.
I wonder how that's going to affect the championship. If you are in London, where it is okay to use a phone, we saw it earlier this episode. If you are in Scotland, same kind of deal. If you are, let's say, in Chicago, where they had phones and notes, and you go up against maybe LA or something like that, and they're not using anything, I do think that could be a big advantage, because the perception of the crowd would be that magician thing. It's like, oh, well, this guy's just like, you know, coming up with it all off the spot, or at the very least took the time to memorize it. So my thing is, I don't care what anybody does, whatever works within the room, but I think people should be working towards memorization, because now you're competing with the world. You're not just competing with the guy across the stage. This is a global sport, and you have to compete on that level.
So then there is styles now. I mean, you're saying there's distinct styles now when it comes to the cities, right, and the regions, right?
For sure.
Like I was saying, I think last Tuesday at the roast battle in LA, I was saying like Bear Badeau, he's a really, really good roast battler, and he was battling another good guy, and he had said something about his sexuality, and in that room, as long as we've been in there, it feels like when you're doing something slightly homophobic at all, it kind of just falls, right?
LA's tough.
LA's tough, but that's their home court advantage.
Yeah.
You feel me? So, like, if you're doing it there, it may not work. If you're doing it in other regions of the country, right? Say you're doing it in Austin, Texas.
That's a haymaker
you know
in
what I mean?
Austin.
It's like,
yeah,
oh, boom, whoa. You know, it's like,
right.
So I like that you're saying that, okay, if they use notes in London, it might be okay, but if they do it out in, like, Denver or the Bay Area, it's like, oh, they might get their lunch eaten.
You have to know. You have to strategize for whoever, like, if you're playing a road NFL game, you study your opponent, you know the noise in the stadium. You got to be prepared for all of that. So I would hope that when we have the championship, the battlers from around the world will take all of that into account, because there are different things that work everywhere. Every city is different. As we briefly talked about off camera, the only thing that is consistent across the globe is pedophilia. Yeah. Everybody loves it.
Everybody's calling a white guy a pedophile.
That works in every single roast battle
every
city.
Dialect,
Yeah, pedophile, pedophile, that's the only consistent across the board.
Yeah, I heard it in every language, yeah, even dead languages, people are still saying about you white guys.
Yeah. All right, well, that was the number 3 battle this week from Toronto. They don't have anything to play for. They're just finishing the season strong, and I love it. And they're fucking up some playoff dreams for some other cities. But now let's move on to our second clinching city. This is the second clincher in the international division. This is Scotland locking down that second spot in the international division. They only needed 1 point this week. They're about to pick up 4, officially ending the season for Tokyo.
Bye-bye, Tokyo.
Just a real quick shout out to Tokyo. I love their rookie season. I think they've come so far. And if you had told me at the beginning of the season that those guys would be in it in the next to last week, I would have been frankly surprised, and they've had a really good season, but they will fall right now to Scotland. They have number 2 battle this week. It clinches a playoff spot, and this is a former Scottish battler we saw with a number 1 battle earlier this year, Amanda Dwyer, going up against somebody who is new to the podcast, Mark Black. It's number 2 this week. Here it is.
Okay, hello. It's lovely to be here. Roasting my friend Mark Black. We've actually been friends for many years. We grew up in the same part of Glasgow. And I just want to say, Mark, you're really starting to remind me of your dad, and that you look like you've been dead 10 years. Mark's the biggest tramp that I know. Look at his manky trousers. Most comedians will come up here and will ask for your laughs, but Mark will also be outside begging for your spare change. Mark reminds me a lot of Fagin from Oliver Twist. Isn't he like him? And that he's always wearing a hat. He looks good in a pair of fingerless gloves. And he regularly rounds up local boys and teaches them how to pickpocket.
You done?
Yeah, for now.
This is my good friend Amanda. As you can see, Amanda, she's you can tell she's on her period. Because she's came dressed as her favourite chocolate bar. The only thing bubbly about Amanda is the fucking cauldron she uses to sacrifice Waynes. She's a very depressing individual, isn't she, when she speaks? So depressing. It's like, she's so depressing that suicide contemplated Amanda. I mean, her child has to listen to her telling him a good night story every night. Amanda must be the only person that can make the fucking hungry caterpillar sound like a suicide note. And also, she looks like something a badger would find in its belly.
Mark's dad was a minister with addiction and anger issues. Sadly, the only thing he was addicted to was battering Mark and his 2 brothers. Everybody thinks Mark wears hats because he's bald, but he actually started wearing them in childhood to cushion the blow of his dad's punches. Mark was so scared of his dad growing up that he used to pee the bed every night. It's really sad. That was until he got his own back and he started studying French at university, and his dad died of embarrassment. That's me.
Amanda's mum was a gambling addict.
She still is.
Amanda's mum was a gambling addict, which made Christmas time really difficult. Like, whether or not Amanda was getting a bike for Christmas was solely dependent on how many first half yellow cards Rangers would receive. She's walking about Toys R Us sweating, hoping for a scoreless draw at Old Trafford. Not finished. She isn't actually Amanda's real mum. She actually won Amanda in a raffle. Amanda was third prize. Second prize was a Partick Thistle Stadium tour. And first prize was a tin of baked beans. Her mum loved the puggies. She used to give Amanda her lunch money in 2p coins. Finally, Amanda's family are not Muslim, despite spending a month without food while her mum was in Mecca.
Are you done?
Yes.
Yeah. Mark recently created his musical alter ego, Tony Turmeric. Nobody's seen it.
No.
Who has a full head of hair, by the way. Mark only did this so that he can wear wigs and pretend that he's doing it ironically. Mark's obsessed with 9/11, like obsessed with it. And it's really obvious when you're watching his comedy, because quite like those two planes, his jokes never really land. Mark has tics, like physical tics. Can you show them my favourite one? My favourite one's like a sort of panicked yawn. Yeah.
Just setting me up.
And I think this is a result of I think this happens whenever Mark remembers the one gay experience he has and he's shocked at how much he actually loved it. That's me.
Right. Amanda has a degree in screenwriting from Glasgow Cali University. She likes to brag about it. Bragging about having a degree from the University of Cali is like bragging about winning Home of the Year Ukraine 2022. Yeah. Or bragging about having the biggest arse in a death camp. Right, anyway. No, Amanda has a tattoo. She's got loads of tattoos. You can't see them. She's got a tattoo on her arse as well. So we know which field to return it to. And finally, she is a hoarder. She likes to hoard train tickets and mini roll wrappers. Anyway, that's me.
That's you. Okay, Mark's an alcoholic in recovery. What is it, like 6 days now or something? So, he spends a lot of his time at AA, NA, CA. He's also got a drug problem, so he spends a lot of time, at Narcotics Anonymous, Alcohol Anonymous. Not because it helps his issues, but because he knows the only people who would ever risk shagging him already have hepatitis and AIDS. No, I'm kidding. Mark actually has a girlfriend. She's artistic and she's a model. Sorry, I misread that. She's an autistic minor. No, I'm kidding. She is an artist and she is a model. And I know you're all thinking, what the fuck is a successful artist and model see in a guy like Mark Black? Apart from her reflection when he takes his hat off, Mark's bald head actually makes for an excellent mixing palette for oil-based paints. That's me.
Well done. Amanda has a son who's autistic. That wasn't the funny part. Her son's dad divorced her and stole a lot of money. He stole so much money she's lost count. Her son has not. Her ex was a coke addict, right? So he would miss birthdays, Christmases, snorting drugs with me. Yeah. And I think that's... oh, aye. Her dad was a nurse and her mum worked in a factory. It was like reverse gender roles there. Imagine that saying, oh, my mom's a Janny. And my dad throws his cylinder horses. No, I'm joking. Anyway, move on.
I'm done, that's the last.
Oh, is it?
Aye, it's now or never, Mark.
Okay. Right, last one. Halloween is coming up. Amanda loves Halloween because it's a chance for her to dress down as a human. And finally, she's classically trained in the clarinet. This is a compliment, which means she's amazing at blowjobs. You think you've had a good blowjob, you never had a bird play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star with your cock? Anyway, that's me.
Number 2 this week, Scotland clinches the playoffs with Amanda Dwyer versus Mark Black in a typical Scottish marathon battle. So many jokes. I marvel constantly at the writing ability of the Scottish battlers because they all look the same. So you don't even have the crutches of like racism or anything like that. They're all just kind of like pasty white people. And yet they still manage to write 25 jokes for each battle and connect with a heavy percentage of them, you know? I think it's very, very impressive. My question to you is, when we get to the championship, let's say you're representing Scotland, you're used to doing 25, 30 jokes a battle. Do you come to a neutral city, and is that still your strategy? Do you try to adapt to the culture in that city? What would be your game plan if you were doing something so wildly different from the rest of the league?
So then it's like when the United States plays FIBA, right? Like FIBA World Cup, right? The rules are a little bit different, right? It's a little more physical. The 3-point line is a little closer, kind of a thing. So the volumes, it's a little higher, I guess, there when it comes to shooting. But when it comes to roast battle, the economy of words is really important.
Yeah.
Right. So I think maybe you do adapt your style a little bit, but just trim the fat.
Yeah, I mean, I think a hybrid is probably the way to go. I mean, I wouldn't coach anybody. Like, at the end of the day, if you feel confident in your style and it's worked for you, I understand why you would want to stick with that. The other angle to that is we're doing the semifinals and the finals in one night. So these guys are going to have to write for 3 opponents.
Correct.
Because they don't know who they're going to face in the finals if they move on. That's a lot of jokes to have to write. And we were just talking about the phone thing. Memorize.
Yeah, dude.
Like, Scotland's the one, country or city where you see it and nobody ever goes, oh, they shouldn't have their phones. Like, everybody understands why.
Yeah.
Because they're doing that many.
Paragraphs, yeah. They're doing like real Comedy Central roast style roasts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Club roasts.
So that's going to be one of my most interesting things, is seeing how Scotland, which is so different from everybody else, how they adapt in the playoffs. I think they're some of the best writers on earth. I think whoever the representative ends up being will write incredible jokes, but how do you choose which ones you use and maybe which ones you don't?
Yeah. It's interesting. It's like the poor people in the United States, right? Like usually like the best roasters because they have like nothing to lose, right?
Yeah.
And then Scotland's just all poor white people, so they have nothing to lose. They're so creative.
Yeah.
It's fun to see that they are the best roasters probably in all of like Europe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pound for pound. So it's gonna be fun to see those guys. One of those guys come over here.
And they're going to be facing London, and 2 very different paths to the playoffs. We talked about London, consistent, pumping out a point here, a point there, 2 points here, 2 points there.
Right, scrappy.
Scotland runs way fewer events, but they've had a lot of number 1 and number 2 battles this season. They've gone very top heavy to get to where they're at right now.
Right. A lot of great jokes.
A lot of great jokes. I'm really excited to see London versus Scotland. I think that's the perfect international final for...
Yeah, the Irish can't wait.
Yeah.
Crush each other, crush the British Empire, then we take over.
Speaking of which, Dublin. hit my DMs. We're always looking to expand. I think Irish, that could be a good scene as well.
That'd be fun, man. Come on now, yeah.
That whole the more you drink, the more we want you in the league, I think is a fair way to look at it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Also, Israel-Palestine, we're looking to do some roast battles. Anyway, next battle.
Okay, number one. The number one battle this week, and it will be our third city clinching a playoff spot today. This is a battle you were there for. Los Angeles not only takes the it clinches a playoff spot, but also takes the number one overall seed in America. London's still within striking distance. They can get that next week, but it's looking pretty good for LA to have home field throughout, even though it's going to be on a neutral location. This was a title match. And this featured Sarah Fatimi, who has been the champion. She won the belt a few months ago from Kelsey Lane, defending against a guy who I think has a real case to be the MVP of the entire league this year.
Okay.
He's on the short list, and we're going to talk about him in a little bit when this is done. Let's watch the battle first, refresh your memory. We were both there for it. It's the number one battle this week. It clinches the playoffs for LA. Sarah Fatimi defending her LA title against Ryan Nesson. Here it is.
All right, fuck it, let's go. Guys, give it up for Sarah. She took time away from riding the tricycle and all the Saw movies to be here tonight. Sarah, hold on. Sarah is a Persian translator, which is crazy because she looks like a Persian trans now. Sarah's such an ugly Muslim. When guys fuck her, they cover their own face.
It's okay, Ryan. I don't take offense to anything you say. I always take it with a grain of salt. Ryan's family owns an optics shop, but the only pupils he's worked with are the ones he's molested.
Guys, let's keep it going for Hamas the Tank Engine.
When they chant from the river to the sea, they're really talking about the distance between Ryan's eyes.
Yeah, you retarded bitch! It's coming from you, Josh. Alright, Jesus Christ. Alright. Sarah's always dreamed of having a huge wedding with over 300 people, and she found the perfect location, her forehead. Sarah, you have the hairline of a Michael Myers mask.
I know. I'm hairy. I have a mustache. You have a beard. She's sitting in the audience. Ryan's trying to get his wife pregnant. At least one of them will have proper delivery.
One more time for Harry Spice. Sarah, your tits are the worst thing I've ever seen strapped to a Muslim's chest. Sarah's got a body like a 9-volt battery. She's short, square, and only a retard would touch her with their tongue.
Ryan's like Jada Pinkett Smith, abusive, annoying, and constantly fantasizing about a dead black guy.
Hey, we got 2 more jokes.
Really?
Maybe not. Didn't work out last time I did this one. Sarah's ex-boyfriend is British, and he used to call her his little English muffin. I'm guessing because her face is filled with so many nooks and crannies.
Ryan doesn't celebrate Halloween, so the only thing he'll be carving into is his wrist.
All right, let's hear it for Bella Jihadid. Sarah. What was my last joke? Come on.
You got it right.
No, I know I do. I'm looking at you right now. What was that? All right, it's not my phone because she did.
Just look at her, you'll remember it.
Actually, Sarah lost her job in TV and her ovaries. So no matter how hard she tries, she'll never be a producer.
Ryan got arrested for a DUI. He was taken into custody by the police, which makes them a better father than he'll ever be.
So the number one battle this week, LA clinching that playoff spot in America. We'll look at the standings in a minute, but I want to talk real quick about, first of all, congrats to Sarah Fatimi. Winning the title is something that nobody can ever take from you. She won it fair and square. She's had a hell of a run over the last couple of years. But Ryan Nesson specifically, the run he's on and how it has corresponded with the RBL season. He finishes the RBL season 8-0.
Okay, wow.
Most wins of any undefeated battler. Best record out of all the 1,000-plus battlers that we referenced earlier. This is 16 RBL points he's put up this year, which I think ranks 4th in the league.
Okay.
Consistent performances. He shows up every battle with incredible jokes. Now he caps off the season by putting LA in the playoffs and winning the LA championship at the same time. This is about as good a season as anyone could possibly have.
Yeah.
And I think he's got to be in that MVP conversation.
I mean, I would give him probably most improved. MVP is a lot. I mean, he's done a lot this year, so it's almost like that scale of, we were talking about with the curve scale, like with Gabe and the non-Ukrainian guy. Ruslan, yeah, Russ. But there's a curve there because it's like, Ryan had a hell of a year because you didn't expect it.
Yeah,
but there's people in that are running for this. You kind of expect it, like Paige Wesley, Shalaka, I guess. The other cat that's over in London too, Ryan Cullen. I mean, like there's so many guys.
Ryan Cullen, yeah.
There's so many guys over there. You're like, okay, well, these guys probably should be in the running. And with Ryan, you're so surprised. You're like, well, he's a dark horse, but I'm not so sure if like. He has a good resume. I don't know if that's the MVP resume, though.
Well, that's also because we've seen him in LA for years.
Right.
We're
a little bit biased.
We haven't really seen Shalaka or Ryan Cullen or any, and I agree, they're on the short list as well.
Mm-hmm.
But we haven't really seen them leading. I don't know what Shalaka was doing 2 years ago. I don't know how much she's improved. I think we kind of have this image of Ryan Nesson because we've watched him go from being a really solid, if unspectacular, battler.
Correct.
He won a lot. His record is 21-6, I believe, for his career. So he's always won a lot. But it was kind of like, I don't really remember the battle after it finishes.
Right.
And I feel like he really elevated his game this year and put himself in a position where not only is he winning, but he's also having really fun, entertaining battles.
I mean, your tits or the worst thing I've seen strapped to a Muslim's chest.
Yeah.
Might be one of the best jokes I've heard all year.
Absolutely. Yeah, one of the best jokes I've ever. And it really felt like the reaction to that joke. I talk all the time. I wax poetic and get nostalgic about 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
And like
the golden era.
Before the fire marshal was called and we used to just stack people on top of people. And the energy in that room, which is still incredible, but it was different then. It felt like that. Like the reaction to that joke. I thought a really solid performance top to bottom. He had some incredible jokes. Obviously, forgetting the one at the end was tough, but he recovered from that nicely.
It was a good one. Still a great joke.
I would say this, whether or not he is the MVP of the league, as far as the LA scene goes, nobody else has the resume to compare to him this year.
I mean, Paige
might be the closest, but the record is, Paige is like a 500 battler, but she has put 18 points on the board.
Yeah.
And she's not only scored points for LA, she's scored them for the Bay, she's scored them for Tokyo.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Paige's kind of been all over the world battling.
Paige is incredible. Would never take anything away from her.
You can put her anywhere, yeah.
I think that those could definitely be the top two in the running for LA as we determine who will be representing Los Angeles in the World Championship.
So they clinched. Wow, Los Angeles clinches now. So now it's just, wow, look at that race. Austin, Chicago, and New York.
Yeah, let's take a look and we'll
this
start.
Is it.
We'll start with America here. This is it. We're coming down to the last week of the season, and 3 teams are fighting for that second playoff spot.
Okay.
LA has wrapped up the top spot. That's done. New York put themselves in a great position to run away with this thing.
Yeah.
And they've been unable to kind of put away the competition in the last couple weeks. They were up, I want to say, 8 to 10 points a couple weeks ago.
They were number 1 at one point, I remember.
Yeah, and Chicago and Austin have been slowly making progress. Chicago leapfrogs Austin this week. Chicago's 2 points back. What this means is New York can clinch next week with a top 2 battle. They don't need help from anybody. They are still in the driver's seat, but they are losing ground quickly.
Control their own destiny. Okay.
Chicago needs a top 2 or 3 battle to even have a shot, and they need New York to miss it next week.
If Chicago gets number 1 battle, what does that do to them?
So if Chicago gets number 1, New York needs number 3 at least to force a tie. If Chicago gets 1 and New York is 4 or 5, it's over. Chicago takes it.
Wow. Okay.
Austin's still technically alive, but Austin needs a lot of help. Austin basically needs a number 1 battle, and they need New York and Chicago to kind of fall flat. At this point, I would say mathematically, you're still feeling good if you're a New York fan, but you can't be feeling good about the fact that they're gaining on you, and they're doing it rapidly.
Yeah.
So it's all going to come down to the final week, at least in the American division. If we look real quick at the international division, that's a little bit different story. Everything is clear at this point. You see the bottom 4 teams eliminated. London, Scotland will be 1 and 2 respectively.
Look at Toronto. I mean, like, that's impressive, Toronto.
Absolutely.
Good job. As like, man, people just were not looking at you guys as anything. It's almost like, should they even be in the league?
Yeah.
And you guys came back to overtake Australia and Barcelona. That's a really, job well done, Toronto.
You don't want to finish in last place.
Right.
You really don't.
Especially after Australia and Barcelona took months off.
Yeah, absolutely. Toronto had a big advantage, and it's been a rough season for Toronto. But I love the way that they're finishing. I love that they're playing to the final whistle, because I mean, frankly, Denver and the Bay Area have been a little bit inconsistent with sending in battles and everything like that. I love that Toronto just keeps swinging, and they're getting better. They're showing improvement, so I'm a fan of that. We have 3 of the 4 playoff spots locked down. It will be London versus Scotland at this mystery location. It will be LA versus someone. Will the someone be New York, Chicago, or Austin? We'll find out next week.
Very exciting. I mean, with Austin as like having maybe some of the best battlers in the league, right? And maybe missing the playoffs. That would be. It's almost like the Padres missing the playoffs this year. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. High payroll.
Yeah. A lot of big talk coming out of there from Tony Hinchcliffe and David Lucas and that whole Austin scene. And you missed the playoffs. I mean, it's like we can't even see you guys. Nobody's going to see you guys.
Absolutely.
At this mystery location.
And then you have 4 months to just stew on the fact that Austin will be watching the playoffs. Like, we could have beaten all those guys.
Yeah, they could have. It's a really good division. That's a really good city. That's a really good camp, team, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And my hope is that you sit back and you reflect on maybe like, the first few weeks of the season we weren't going like super hard. Those points all matter. New York, very much like London, racking up a couple points here, a couple points there, and here they are in a position to win the whole thing. And Austin is playing catch up. So it's going to be a long off season for some squads. We'll find out next week who grabs that 4th and final playoff spot, and then we will come back after that and start looking at what those matchups look like. We'll name our MVPs. We'll start previewing the championship. We'll have some best of. We'll go back and recap the best battles of the entire season. I'm looking forward to it, man. And it's good to be here in our new home.
Yeah, nice digs. Thank you, Def Noodle.
I can't wait to wear pants next time. It's going to be awesome.
It's cold in here.
Dude, it's like 40 degrees in here.
It's good.
It's next time pants for sure. Once I get pants, it's a wrap for everybody else.
It's over for you hoes.
Exactly. But until next time, I'm Pat Barker. That is Brian Moses. Follow at RBL Commish. Follow at Roast Battle on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube. Check everything out. And we'll see.
November 1st, we're in San Diego, new Roast Battle City. And then November 5th, we're at the mothership with another Roast Battle League.
That's true. November 1st, San Diego. November 5th, Austin. And mystery date, mystery location for the championship. I cannot wait for you guys to hear where it is. I literally couldn't be more excited about where we ended up.
It's very fun.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Until next time, we'll see you guys. Be back next week with more battles on RBL Weekly.
Let's roast!